Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and can't believe it's been 9 months or so since I last did a little video with commentary. Time flies, and well, you know, a lot goes on in between. We all get busy doing stuff, don't we? So, but I thought I'd do a little update video on what I've been up to on a new game. Not to say that other game I've been working on has been ditched and forgotten. I know I like to change between projects every so often sometimes, but not really switching projects, but I'm just doing something now while ideas are fresh in my head, and I thought I'd do a little bit of work and just give you a brief update on this new idea for a game, which is spun off kind of from System X, which I've been working on one of the levels. So one of the levels inside System X was like this, was like a tech level. Industrial level, and this is what's happened. I've taken some of the graphics out of it and I've mapped it into this game, which is like a homage to an old 64 game called Cybernoid. If you're familiar with Cybernoid, a flick screen game back in '88, I think it was. It was released by Hewson and programmed by Nick Jones. Sound music done by Jeroen Tell and graphics by Hewson. Quite a young team, people working on it. Jeroen, who did music, was about 15 at the time. I think Hugh might have been a similar age, 15 to 17, something like that. And Nick was, I think, the oldest. He was about 19. So, yeah, Cybernoid was one of probably the biggest games on 64. For those who are not familiar with Cybernoid, basically you take control of this Cybernoid craft, and you go around shooting aliens and getting bounty, collecting bits of things, weapons and pickups and all sorts of stuff, as you progress through the level. So everyone probably remembers it, probably more for the music, because it did have one of the best 64 soundtracks. And not the original. Apparently the original was with samples. I would love to hear the Cybernoid version 1 with samples on it. But yeah, so this is the game, and you've got your Cybernoid craft moving through these nicely drawn screens. And just pause it there just for a second. So yeah, so you've got little hazards, like you've got these like droids which go up and down in between these columns and stuff like that, and you've got to work your way through, and it's pretty much a follow the route across to the entire game. Your route is restricted. You can only go in one direction all the way through the entire game. You can blow up bits of scenery and stuff as like that. This is done in what's called multicolour bitmap mode, this game, and hence the number of colours. Where you get all these different shades of greens, and you got the purples, and you got the greys, and you got blues all on screen at once. You can only do that in bitmap mode. You can't really do it in character mode at all, or even ECM or extended background colour mode. You can't really do that to the degree that they've done it here. So this game was based on the Spectrum version, which Raphael Checo created, and Nick Jones and Raphael, they would go to each other's houses while living in London and just see how each of the games worked. And then eventually, when they got working games, they went to Hewson and said, "Publish this, please. It's great," and they did, and they got 93% in Zap of the 64 version, that is. And then it was quickly followed up by a second one, because obviously it sold quite a lot. Not that Nick Jones himself got a lot of money from it. I think he only got $6,500 or something payment, which you think in the 80s it might sound a lot, but it probably wasn't really. It probably wasn't enough to tie him over with, especially if you were living in London. and he didn't get any royalties from it as well, which is typical of the industry at the time. And a lot of bad things came out about Hewson, and it's probably one of the reasons why they went bust in the end, because they treated the staff like crap, and that's why everybody who worked for Hewson spun off, and like, you know, your companies appearing like graphical and stuff, you know, like that, which outlived Hewson, because in the end they just, I think, died a death. But yeah, Cybernoid 2 was made. There was no Cybernoid 3, which you probably understand if the company was going into financial problems. And yeah, so I think Nick Jones only got $2,500 for the sequel, which was even worse. But he was young, he was 19, and didn't have any idea about royalties, and didn't have a solicitor or something. And but yeah. But you know, the game itself, I was always frustrated with the colour of the actual craft. It didn't look anything like what was on the cover of the actual cassette when you got it. So, which always was a little bugbear in mine. Why can't I make it look like it? Why can't I make it look at it? And if you go through this game, I mean, yeah, it's very nicely done. And you see the amount of debris on screen. Some of these are software sprites rather than hardware sprites, because there was just not enough sprites, even with a multiplexer in place. The guy who coded it, Nick Jones, he realised that, you know, he'd have to do something as software sprites, like these bullets here. You know, and some of the weapons that he that you use, because you got, I think, 5 weapons in the first game at your disposal. You have bouncing, you got bombs, you got bouncing balls, you got like a shield, you've got mines, you got something else as well. I don't know if it's a grenade or a rocket or something, maybe, or something like that, heat-seeking missile or something like that. Yeah, I think the sequel has 7 weapons, so you just access them on the keyboard, 1 to 5 or 1 to 7. Yeah, so it's all quite pleasant enough. You got these little spinny things. They don't do much. There's not that many enemies coming on screen, so at any one time. So you don't have. You got 3, 4 there. And you've got these pickups that are coming down. The sprites as they fall, and then they switch to multicolor bitmap graphics as soon as they touch the bottom there, so they switch, so they freeze up the sprite again. So that was a little trick that was employed. So you've got 4 sprites just for your ship, and then all these little bits around it, these trails, them are software sprites, and your bullets are software sprites, probably, I would imagine. So yeah, so that was Cybernoid. Yeah, you just follow it through, but it was enjoyable. You know, everybody liked this game when it came out. Everyone loved the music, probably more than the actual game. But some people thought it was too hard to complete. I did actually finish a game without cheating, so I don't know if that makes me a better game player than others. I don't know, but I've seen people today on YouTube breeze through this in about 10-15 minutes, and I think this playthrough here is probably about 10 minutes, given the intro is probably about 30 seconds of it. Yeah, so there you can see just completed the entire game in about 11 minutes, so it's doable. And it's about 70 screens, I think, in total for Cybernoid across the 3 levels. So, which is probably all they could fit in at the time. Cybernoid 2 came along a few months later, because obviously Hewson was so impressed with it got generated that many sales. Music again by Joe Owen, but even though he's put main X of Noise, which is a strange thing to do, really. I would have put your name on it, but he was just plugging the group, I think. But and graphics again by the same artist, Hugh. And once you've got a template, you can probably knock out sequels like left, right, and centre. You could have probably done a 3rd one as well, another couple of months later. But given Hewson was going into financial problems, they probably didn't do it. So the second one. Another soundtrack which people sometimes favoured over the first one, but I didn't actually like the second one so much for the sound. I thought it wasn't as good a stronger tune as the first one. Yeah, so again, some just slight differences. So these things which were moving vertically in the first one are moving horizontally now, and it's like they've gone for this expanded sprite look, a bit chunkier, a bit bigger, which I wasn't really a fan of, to tell you the truth. There's a whole thing that just looks like, yeah, you can tell this is like a chunkier version. Didn't look as slick, this chunkier version. I don't know why they went with a different design look. I've probably just, he was bored of the graphics, or he was told to change them, I don't know, and under instruction, I don't know. But just to give it a slight, difference over the original game, I suppose, maybe. And all these eyeballs and stuff, which were a bit weird. I think they were on the front cover of the artwork of the game, so they put them in there. But yeah, so it's like, it is like it was. So again, you've got little moving back and forward type things. So you probably didn't have, you got 1, 2, 3, you got 4, 5, 6, 7. You probably have 9, 10 sprites on screen. That is hardware sprites, and then there are software sprites you have on top of that. So yeah, not masses of sprites, but it's but it was still hectic enough. It gave you enough of a challenge to get through this game. And then again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See, that was probably just that's a bitmap now because it's fallen already. But yeah, these are software sprites. These bullets, these are just bitmap graphics which are just being moved through the bitmap screen just to save on sprite usage. But yeah, so Cybernoid 2 sequel, again, popular, but probably not as popular as the first from the way I looked at it. Some people love it to this day, but I prefer the first one. So yeah, again, we each like different things, don't we? So what did I do? So I essentially a few weeks ago came up with my own reimagining of the ship sprite for a start, because it was the ship idea came months and months ago. I just thought I'd redesign. I do sometimes redesign these things, similar to other stuff I've got on my channel. Like I'll redesign Tiki from New Zealand Story, or Bub from Rainbow Islands, or something like, just to see how good I can make them, or maybe like Mario from Super Mario or something. And yeah, so I just do these things just to see how good I can make them. And so that was my idea on the ship sprite. So you can see it looks pretty much similar to the artwork. You've even got the yellow black diagonal stripes on the original artwork in that ship. And if you rotate the ship changes the other direction, then you won't see them because they're only on one side. Things like that. And I've also got some other little bits like lights and stuff. So if we just go into this, so you can see this. Just pause it. So I've got some little lights running up this like bit of scaffolding, and I've got fans rotating and some like hazard lights which are flashing on and off, and the lights on the craft as well change. And we've got some bit of parallax in the background. So this is my reimagining. I've taken the industrial tech level from System X, and I've put it into this map, this world for Cyberdroid. Obviously changing the name for obviously reasons. It's just like I say, because I like the game originally that much. I thought this is my own interpretation of it, and everybody's entitled to do their own things. It's based on a theme. So yeah, so we've got this. We've got these fans, and I thought we've got these heat exchanger type pipe work and stuff, and we've got these big cylinders which are probably got some hazardous material in them. I think extra elements I'm going to put in the game. So like if you get too close to these, you may be exposed to some sort of radiation, so that could harm your craft or something. Or you get too close to these heat pipes, exchange pipes, and your craft could overheat maybe. Just adds extra like dynamics into the game. So it doesn't have to be the same as the original, and there'll be themes from the original, but it won't exactly be the same. And this is the idea behind it. So I'm just going to do my own thing. So you've got these little lights which are going up there, and the lights flash on and off and whatever. So a bit of animation. I think it just adds a bit more into it, and just that gives that little bit of extra something to the game. So again, the premise is pretty much there from the first. You go around shooting aliens and collecting things and stuff, but this version you probably get to the end and you probably have to collect something at the very end, rather than just sitting on a pad and saying, "Oh, well done, Cybernoid pilot or Cyberdroid pilot. You've completed your mission or whatever for part 1 or level 1." But this will be just like level 1 sort of A, and then there'll be another section. So this might be 12 screens, and then the next one might be 15, or it might be 20 or whatever, or 18, or however many screens I decide to put in. And then level 2 would be a completely different theme, I'm thinking. So for level 2, it might go into like a jungle setting theme or something like that. So if you're familiar with like a flashback, it could be, a jungle theme. Obviously not the same level of detail as this, but I probably nick ideas from my organic theme again in System X. So there'd be little animated bits. There'd be like stalactites, stalagmites, maybe hanging vines, maybe, or something like that. So I think there's a section here where we've got some sort of strange like cylinder bits. If we just advance it a little bit more, so we've got these little pods, obviously hanging down from the top there. So they could make an appearance, things like that. I like them, and then there could be something else in there as well. I think we've got some like little cylindery silo bits, but organic looking ones, I think. I think they're just about to scroll onto the screen now. So without further ado, here they come, I think. Yeah, so these things, again, which are similar in a way to these, they can act in a similar fashion, but obviously being organic versions of it. And so I think putting them in like a jungle scene, obviously the background probably wouldn't be black, it would probably be a sky colour, like in flashback, like a cyan, and then maybe just instead of having this colour, which is a very difficult colour to reproduce on a 64, it would just be a grey in there, because I would have to choose very carefully. The green could be character colour, grey would be one of a mid-coloured, mid-grey maybe, and then you've got a brown or orange you could use. But so I mean, this is obviously a dark grey here, and then we've got a light grey there. So it would be difficult to sort of reproduce, but I like the mix of tech and organic. That's what I do like about it. So that's the idea of maybe doing like a jungle thing, that I'm going to mix tech and organic in some fashion. Don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but I'll come up with something. Always like coming up with crazy ideas, graphics, so I should be able to do something. So again, it's I think I'll probably do something like that, like I say, and just pinch ideas from what I've done previously. So there we go. So that's the whole idea. And then again, there might be a cave level, and there might be another type of level as well. So there's all sorts of ideas you can just throw. This is the beauty of designing your own game. You can put in any idea you want, you really can. And yeah, so it can evolve in numerous ways between now and whenever the game is finished. But I just do this in my own time, as and when. If we just flick to the next preview, because obviously you may have seen this preview, or may not. You may be watching it for the first time. It's just evolved a little bit now, so I'll just switch on to this and show you what has happened in the interim. It's only been, I've probably only spent maybe a day or two on the actual in between. I've not spent a great deal of time at all, really. So I'm quite impressed with the amount I've got in. So here we go. I'll just pause it a little. Oh no, I'll just leave it running. It doesn't matter. So again, that whirring noise in the background, that's for the fans, and this you'll only get this in sound effects mode. You won't get it in the with the music. And I just popped in a couple of little sprites animated like a tank-like robot sentry patrolling left and right. And these might spit out some projectile or something rather than just going backwards and forwards, I would think. And then the spinny things sort of influence from the ones in the original game. And that's what I've called them in the code, spinny thing, because I don't have a name for them. It's like the legs, which are probably these arms or whatever, the tentacles or whatever. I don't know what it would be. I'd put a bit of animation light on the top of it. You see them just bobbing up and down there. And obviously I've changed the parallax colour on the background at the moment. Yeah, the lights are still blinking on and off for the actual ship, and obviously these hazard lights and stuff. But you got to get the idea. I think this is screen 3 from level 1. And I've got some basic controlling, no collision yet or anything like that, no firing. But you sort of get the idea, the look I'm going for. And the sprites, the enemies have got overlays as well, because I want to give it that kind of look. This is what I'm going for here. I'm not wanting chunky multicolour enemies just because I've used a overlay on the main ship, the player ship. I didn't want to compromise on those, so all the enemies will have overlays, and there still should be enough memory available for this. Obviously, the ultimate is going to be a cartridge game, so even though the cartridge stuff is not in there just yet, and that'll probably be one of the next things I do in the next few weeks, probably, is to get it to start loading in all the level bits from cartridge, because then you can load in sprite data as well from the cartridge in between screens if it's a different type of alien you're going to have, maybe. Yeah, so it's all open at the moment, how many aliens will be, enemies to destroy or types and stuff. And they're not being updated every single frame. These like the tank, I think I'm only updating that every 4th frame or something like that, so it doesn't look too bad as it stands. And similar with the bobbing up and down, that's only every so many frames. I'm saving raster time essentially by doing that, and it looks still good enough. Obviously your player ship will be updated all the time, because you don't want any compromise. And I've got some basic movement here in at the moment, so and it'll flip left and right at the moment. Eventually what this will do, it will turn around with more frames of animation. So I've started on the other frames of animation for the turning around, so you'll see like a 45 and 90 and a 135 position. So you'll have from left to right to left, and left to right, you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. There'll be 5 sprites essentially, or 10 sprites with the overlays, but you'll get the transition. And I think maybe when the crash, you'll see the the ship probably rotate 360 degrees essentially, and it'll spin down to the ground and explode in some fashion. I've added a few little white stars. These will probably shimmer in the final game, but I just added a few stars just to give you an effect. So there'll be some extra bits. And these like little, I don't know, these droids or whatever I'm gonna call them, I don't know. Remind me of the droids in Empire Strikes Back, but they're not black obviously, but they're bobbing up and down. I just did that just, I think, just for effect at the moment, but they'll probably come in from a gap or something and they'll move up, and then they may move towards you. I have no idea what I'm going to do with them, because I have different characteristics on each screen, each level. So not decided on fully what I want to do with them, but they may just move across slightly to block your path. See, so like you're on the right now, so they may move right slowly or left slowly just to like get in your way and annoy you. And they might fire, spit something out, projectile or energy bolt or something. But yeah, I don't want to make this impossibly difficult, which some people thought of the first original Cybernoid. This is my own idea, so it can be anything. But I've also toyed with it. The idea will of the craft, this player craft, will you will be able to land it in places, and you'll be able to get pickups and what have you on the ground. You might have to refuel. Maybe you might have fuel as a one of these objectives. You've got to find fuel pods, or you've got to get to a fuel pad, landing pad, and recharge yourself or something like that. You know, again, it just adds a little bit extra into the game. Just something there for people to think about. So it's not just going to be just an all-out shooter. But yeah, it's I think that now there's something there that will evolve into a game. I think we've got the basics there. And then once you get all the other bits of things, which is going to happen, like these could be like firing out plasma or something. And this little, I don't know whether it is, could spit out projectile. Or this dome thing could be like giving you electric shock or something if you get close to it. Steam coming out, some pipe work here. So it could be anything and everything really. There's just loads of ideas just floating around at the moment. Like I say, you could just like expose yourself, get too much radiation by going too close to these things, or these heat exchange pipes. You could overheat and that can destroy your craft. You can do anything really. It's all open. Not decided 100%. It will just evolve into the game that it will be. So it won't exactly be Cybernoid. So don't expect the same. I think it would be stupid to do exactly the same. Would it be dubbed as a Cybernoid 3? I don't know. I'm not looking for that, but it's just my own idea based on something that came out many years ago now. So and people that do this, like there's like the chiller games that sequels are like unofficial sequels and stuff, but I don't think I would call this Cybernoid 3 or anything like that, but no, I'd probably stick with the Cyberdroid game naming of it. So yeah. So where else have I done? I did a little bit of work for the title screen as well. I'll just pause this so we don't get the constant fan noise in the background. Let's have a quick look at the title. So yeah, so you can see hopefully from the title. That's the stylized font I'm going for the title screen. It's I quite like it. It looks quite futuristic in terms of it, quite Tron-like I suppose in a way, but the C is pretty much the same from the original game, and then I've just stylized the rest around it. And even though there's like 3 eyes, it looks like a triple eye. It was going to be just a solid block, but on its own it looks a bit lost, the eye, so I had to put 3 in there. And I suppose in a way if people think of it as a third Cybernoid game, then that's like a cheeky reference, I suppose, isn't it? So, I mean, because you could easily change, if it was official Cybernoid game, you could change the DR to an N and have that, and then also that would tie as a 3, wouldn't it? Cybernoid 3, but I think for me it was just because it was lost, so all I did, I put a 3 in. It's just a stylistic thing, I put that. So if people are thinking it was because I was doing, it wasn't really. But and this around the edge at the moment, this is just the placement, the idea of particle, rather than, because I think on the original games they had this little rotating stuff moving left around the actual screen there. So you had moving down and moving up and then moving around. So it's just like a little cycle thing. But this is just like a particle, like laser type thing, isn't it? Energy beam or whatever, particle weapon. But there'll be little stars as well flickering on and off screen. I've got the star animations in the character set there, so so that's ready to go in to this. We've got obviously room for this, and these credits, I could fade them in and out differently rather than just flicking them. But like I say, it's all early. It's just there. It's a placeholder at the moment. So, but I think that's okay for the font. It's only about 33 characters or something, so that's not too bad. And then what else is there? So obviously this is the map work I've done. So you can see this is at the bottom there. That's the this is the screen that you've just seen in the demo there in Vice. So, and then these blue stripes are just for me, for my reference. I've split the screen up in the map just so and I know what to grab out. I did think as well, just going back to the game, I did think about maybe making this, it's obviously 40 columns wide at the moment, which is a standard 64 width, but I did think of maybe making it 38. So just reducing it down by a column of data, because that can save, as it mounts up, as you go through a number of screens, you're saving yourself a screen every 20. So, and that's potentially a lot of data there that you could use for other bits, like level map data and whatever, so for enemies and bits and stuff. So, and you probably wouldn't notice too much it being 38 column instead of 40 column wide. So that's another idea I'm toying with at the moment. I don't know. It may be okay if it's a cartridge game. You might not need to, but yeah. So, but all early days yet anyway. So it's I've put this out just to just to gauge people's opinions and feedback on it. So let me know what you think about it. Also, give it a thumbs up, give it a like if you like it, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, then please do so. It makes me know what I'm doing is obviously liked by some people out there. So if Cybernoid is your game from back in the day, I'm hoping you would like this version. So I think it's there's enough potential there to do something with it. So yeah, like I say, there's plenty of ideas and scope. So there we go. It's just like a little brief preview anyway to what I've been up to. This version of my version of a classic game, really. Yeah, not to say anything that was badly done in the first two games, really. It was what it was, but this is just my it's more coding practice for me, really, this. Yeah, there's definitely something there, I think. So we can definitely do something with it. Again, comment on it, let me know your thoughts and ideas and stuff. And it will evolve into something. Something that I thought maybe a little bit of oscillation, up vertical movement, on a slight vertical movement on your player ship when you start there, because the original, it just sinks all the time, then it just drops down and you have to keep fighting it like that. You're moving it up and down. So I don't know whether we had that in as an option as well or not. It's just like the original, if that's what you want to do. It was like a gravity thing, just pulling it down. But so you were just fighting all the time. I don't know in this version, because we might do that many different things, it might not need it. I mean, there's Cybernoid, obviously, which is a sort of homage again to Cybernoid, which was a different version of the game, and it was all black and white, monochromatic with some hint of red. And Shalan, Simon Jameson, I think he's done the 64 conversion. The Amiga version's already out. 64 version I don't think it's been released, even though he did it on his channel a few years ago now, which is a good watch as well. So if you watch go look up Shalan and look up his YouTube channel, and I think he split it into about 70 parts or something, programming Cybernoid, and I've still not seen all of them myself, so but I know he did a version which is very similar. It's slightly different the way it plays, and it doesn't have the gravity thing like Cybernoid does. So yeah, so that's something else, you know. That's another reason why I wanted to do it, because I'd seen that done, and I thought, okay, let's have a bash. Let's see if we can make a Cybernoid type game. And other people have done similar games as well. There are some other clones out there, full price and budget games on the 64, which were clones of Cybernoid. But again, I forget the names of them off the top of my hand, but I did see one only the other week. Interestingly, I think it was on just some channel where they were just going through old games, and top to, I think it was it may have been on Witchfinder's channel, Hello to Witchfinder, and I think he was covering some 20 rip-offs or clones of other games that have been out, something like that. So and that may have been it, but yeah, so there we go. Cyberdroid preview 2. Yeah, so let me know what you think anyway. Like and subscribe and say if you haven't already, and I will see you in another video. So thanks for your time, and take care, and enjoy whatever you're doing. 64 games, hopefully, playing or making yourself, and I will see you in another video. Thank you. Bye.